This is my case study presentation for my EDU 311 class, and my student's name is Kasha. Some background information on Kasha. She is 6 years old. She is in the 1st grade, and I was in her class this semester for student teaching. For her home life, she does live with her mother primarily. I believe there are some other female relatives that live with her. I think her aunt for sure does live with her, and maybe a couple other cousins. As of right now, she does not have an IEP. She does not have any health or medical issues that have been identified by a doctor. Her only struggle in the classrooms is with her focusing and staying on task. Some strengths and interests of Kasha. When we did our interview together, she told me many things about herself. She told me that she really enjoys reading books about Frozen, the Disney movie that came out a couple years ago. She loves going to the park with her friends and her family, and she also likes playing with her cousin who lives close to her. She owns a cat, her and her family, but she did tell me that her favorite animal is the dog, and she hoped to have a dog in the future. When she grows up, she said that she would like to be a mom who stays at home with her children and gets to raise them and take care of them. She's a very caring student, so I think this reflects on her, how she is with other students around her. Very lovable, she wants to hug and help everybody, so this reflects that as well. She enjoys getting to interact with the smart board during whole group lessons and during centers. When she gets called to the board, as long as she knows the answer, she has a lot of fun with it, but if she does not know the answer, she does get easily frustrated and shy. Her least favorite subject, she informed me, was math. Some academic and behavioral challenges. Even though her least favorite subject was math, that is her best score in the classroom right now. She's a very friendly student. Like I said before, she likes to help those whenever she can. If they need a shoe tied, or they need help with their work, or need a new pencil, she's always the first one to volunteer these things for them. She does have a hard time staying focused and on task. The teacher has to redirect her a lot. Reading and language arts is definitely her hardest subject that she struggles in. She does not have a lot of letter sounds and the blending techniques that she needs when she's learning to read. Each week for homework, we give the students a packet, and they are allowed to choose 3 to 4 items out of that packet to do for homework that's due on Friday, along with some math as well. Kasha always completed her math, but she never had most of her reading done. I think a lot of this is because she didn't have as much help at home as she does in the classroom, and she just simply didn't know what to do. She is easily distracted, whether by herself or others around her, and when she is distracted, she likes to distract those around her by talking to them and getting them off their task as well. Some academic and behavioral history on Kasha. She is in the general education classroom as of right now. This is suiting her needs currently. We do not feel that she needs to go to a resource room or a self-contained classroom. Like I said, she does not have an IEP, and she's not been tested in special ed. Toward the end of the first quarter, though, we did notice that academically she was struggling, and so she was placed in the PST program at her elementary school. Like I said before, she's not been tested special ed, and the teachers in the school do not feel that she needs to be. I was able to observe my student in 3 different settings. I chose the general education classroom, which I see her every day in, and I chose cafeteria and PE as well. In the general education classroom, as I've said before, she has a hard time paying attention. Whether it's in small group, whole group, or just by herself doing her independent work. She gets off task a lot, and either me or the teacher has to redirect her constantly. In the cafeteria, she has a hard time sitting correctly. This also happened in the classroom sometimes. She likes to sit on her feet or perch on the side of her chair. She sits too close to others, and she sometimes leans on them and stays in their personal space. And she's always late from the cafeteria picking her lunch tray up and getting her lunch tray. It takes her the longest to get everything together and throw her trash away and get in line for us to leave. At PE, the coaches have them, they come in and sit at their designated spots on the gym floor. She had to be redirected, told where to go and when to do it. The day I observed her, we had Kona Ice coming. It was ice cream. And the whole entire time she was sitting in the gym, the coach had to tell her to put her money away, to stop jingling around and throwing it and losing it. So she has to be redirected a good bit, and she's very unfocused on her task. Some social strengths and challenges. I was able to complete a sociogram with my entire 1st grade class. There was a lot of things that I did not think would have come from this that I learned about my students. Kasha, she's very friendly, but she does have some social challenges. The way she tries to interact with those around her are sometimes not the most appropriate ways she could do it. She seems to annoy a lot of her students with how she acts sometimes and how she unfocuses during her work time and distracts them as well. After the sociogram, I was able to talk with her and to explain to her how she could become better friends with some of her students. and I have seen progress since then. There's a young girl that sits beside her at lunch who have now become good friends with her, and they talk a lot and hang out and play. Some effective interventions. After observing Kasha and trying a lot of interventions, I did find one that worked the best, and that was small group, especially during reading. That's her academic area that she needs the most help in. She began to make progress in being able to identify and read some words. At the beginning of the year, she had a hard time even identifying sounds of letters, so she has grown a lot. She did have a hard time recalling what she learned. It took a couple weeks for her to really kind of get in the mood and know what she was saying and what she had learned before. Many times I had to give her extra time for an assignment, or I brought her to the back table and worked with her one-on-one, and that really helped her to finish the assignment and get it done well. My reflection interventions, she did respond differently to some interventions that I tried. The self-monitoring system that I tried to apply with her did not work. She was unable to monitor herself. She gets too distracted too easily. A lot of her distractions and off-task, I think, comes from the workload, and I believe it's too hard for her. Her reading level is lower than most in the class, so she gets easily frustrated and doesn't want to complete her work, so she distracts herself. Special intervention. Cooperative learning groups was the best for Kasha, being in the small group and reading, and other times during the day. I placed her with academic students that were on the same level as herself. The group would do flashcards together, go over letter sounds, taking turns. The students usually made a game out of this, and the ones who had the most letter sounds, the most words read, got to win for the day, and Kasha really enjoyed the competition. It helped her remember her letter sounds, and she began to know some words and blending them correctly and able to read on her own. The amount of letter sounds and the words she could read increased, and I think this also helped her confidence, and it showed her that she can read more if she puts her mind to it. For special intervention, I put Kasha in cooperative learning group in her classroom. This is what helped her the most. I placed her with students that were on the same academic level as her. They would do readings together most days. The group would go over flashcards. They would sometimes have letter sounds on them and other times have actual small words. At first, Kasha didn't do very well, but she got a lot better. A lot of the students made games out of it, and the point of the game was to whoever got the most cards at the end of the small group. Kasha liked this competition. It helped her to be a little more competitive and to try harder and to get the words and the sounds. Toward the end of my time in the classroom with Kasha, I did start noticing that she was able to get a lot more letter sounds, and she was correctly blending words and sounding them out on her own. She did well in the small group, but she was also taking the stuff she learned and taking it to her desk with her when she was doing her independent seat work and classroom work. The amount of sounds that she did increase, along with her confidence. I believe the confidence builder was the main thing for her. She wasn't a shy student, but she was shy when it came to the group work. When she was in front of the board, she didn't want to get the answer wrong. She didn't like being caught up when it was a hard question. So I think the confidence builder really helped her. Working with Kasha taught me a lot of things. I took a lot away from the student. There are many lessons that I learned. She's a very sweet child, and she really does want to learn. She just has a little hard time doing it on her own. But after you give her a little bit of push and you work with her, she does do a lot more, and she surprises you. The most important thing that she taught me was when you give a student your time and you really try your best and you have a lot of patience with them, they can surprise you with what they can do. When I first started working with Kasha, I didn't think she would come as far as she did, and it really surprised me to see how much my teaching really helped her, and it was a confidence builder not only for her but for myself as well. I hope that my time with her really did help. I hope she takes lessons that I taught her and the different strategies and how to sound out words and remember the sounds, and I hope she becomes a better student because of it, and I'm truly thankful for the time I got to have with her.